What's up? Welcome to Weed Week 2021, Day 1. My first question is, what is the difference between medicinal marijuana legalization, recreational legalization, and decriminalization? So medical legalization means that you can get a prescription for a medical condition to use cannabis in some form, but you have to get it from a regulated place. You can't just get it from your buddy. You can't grow it yourself. When it is recreational, it is like alcohol. So you can use it legally if you have a certain amount of it. You cannot get it under 21. You cannot use it out in public. You can't drive with it. Same kind of deal. You also can't sell it. You have to buy it also from regulated places. And if it is decriminalized, that means that it's still not legal, so you can get busted for it, but you're likely to get a ticket or a fine or have to go to counseling or get a drug education class, but it will not be put on your record. You won't be charged. You won't be brought off to jail. Weed Week Day 2, and I got a question from a high school senior asking, how do I know if I'm addicted to weed? So think of it with 5 C's. 1 is if you are having negative consequences because of your use in any way, but you're continuing to use anyway. Second one is that you're losing control of it. So you might set some limits. You want to take it or leave it, but you tend to take it and not be able to stick to those limits you're setting. Third is that it's becoming more and more the center of your life, taking up more headspace, taking up more time. Maybe you're planning using it, getting it, using it, recovering from using it, covering up for using it, and having cravings. So your brain has gotten so used to it being in there, amping up the feel-good chemicals, that without it, you feel like you're at a loss and you're craving it to feel normal and using it to cope. Not just once in a while, but you need it. It's the one thing you go to when you are feeling pissed or feeling sad. Also experiencing withdrawal, that when you stop, you go through some wiggity. It is day 4 of Weed Week, and I got a question today from a high schooler that I often get, which is, where did this whole 420 thing come from anyway? How did 420 become a slang term for weed and for using weed and become like a national event or holiday for getting high? It is not a lot of the myths that people have heard. It is not the police code for there is marijuana use in progress. It's not because it's Hitler's birthday. I don't know where that came from. It is not based on a Bob Dylan song. It's just 5 dudes, 5 friends that used to get together in high school in California who would meet at 4:20 in the afternoon after their activities were over and get high. And one of those had a brother who worked on the road with the Grateful Dead, and that kind of spread from there. And then the Deadheads took it and ran. It is Weed Week Day 3. And I recently had a conversation with a high schooler who told me that he was using cannabis on a daily basis to manage his ADHD symptoms and felt like it was really helping him to chill out his hyperactivity and to help him focus and concentrate in ways that nothing else did. So you're not crazy, bruh. Is that THC, which is in cannabis, has that impact on the brain? Is that it kind of cuts out big picture thinking and really causes a hyper focus effect of whatever you're putting your attention and focus on. You get an intense focus. It also can chill out the body and chill out the brain, right? But here's the problem, is that front part of the brain that's right here behind the forehead, the prefrontal cortex or frontal lobe, is that the things that are not on point for those of us with ADD and ADHD are the things that happen in that front part of the brain. So that is impulse control, that is focus and concentration, that is the ability to kind of organize our thoughts and our stuff and to prioritize our thinking, right, and our actions. So unfortunately, this is also the part of the brain up front here that is not done growing until you're in your mid-20s. And we know that a lot of substance use, including cannabis at this age, which is high school, if regularly used or heavily used, that it can disrupt the growth of that front part of the brain, which we really want to grow as much as possible when we are kind of struggling with ADD and ADHD symptoms. So this is what's tricky, right? Is that in the moment, it can feel like it's really helping. But behind the scenes, unfortunately, it is disrupting the ability of our brain to develop those parts on their own. So my suggestion is, if you are struggling with ADD and ADHD, is to talk about that with a doctor, or ask if you can find a holistic doctor, or do some research online to some trustworthy sources, see some other ways to manage that. If you're sketched out about medication, just know that there are a growing number of things that impact people really differently. Just because one person has side effects doesn't mean somebody else will. And some of them are not stimulants. There's things that diet can make a difference in. There's things that others' lifestyle habits and sleep. And so do some research, because unfortunately using cannabis to manage the ADHD, while it feels like it's working, is going to backfire long term.
We are wrapping up Weed Week 2021 with a parent question, which is, now that I know all this stuff about cannabis, how do I prevent my kid from going there as long as possible? So that's going to be based in their own motivation and skill set to do so. So we're going to help them have 5 things. 1, scientific research-based intel on how cannabis use right now can impact their developing adolescent brain. 2 is helping them think about how use would conflict with their own values and goals. So not ours, but theirs. So things like self-control and maturity and freedom and future plans that they have for themselves. 3, they need real world resistance skills for both peer pressure and the media pressure that they're soaking in to be using. 4, they need coping skills for all of the difficult and complicated adolescent feels that they have. And finally, they need satisfying, convenient, effective ways to meet their needs for belonging and confidence and fun that work and that they can access.